The speed of interest rate cuts. Hey everyone, it's Wolfgang. I wanted to cover this because we all sort of know that the Fed is starting to lower interest rates. How is that going to affect the economy, and how quickly will it affect the economy, the interest rate cuts? So let's talk about that. Parts of the economy need lower rates now, right now. That would be the housing industry, the trades jobs, which include remodeling and new construction. But other parts of the economy are doing okay. That would be healthcare and technology. So we need fast interest rate cuts in a part of the economy, okay? So what about inflation? Inflation does play a role in the dual mandate that the Fed has. When the Fed is lowering interest rates, which they are now, we've entered the process of lowering interest rates. They're looking at inflation, okay? So the economists and the Fed now believe that future inflation, going forward from tariffs, will be a one-time event if any inflation is created at all. There's no expectation right now. There's no expectation of long-term inflation. So that's sort of on the sidelines now. And there's no expectation of stagflation where, inflation's going up for an extended period and there are no jobs for an extended period. There's no expectation that's going to happen. So Jerome Powell, the Fed, and the job market. Powell has said the job market cooled substantially this summer. We all kind of know why he said that. Because if you remember to earlier this year, there was this belief that the job market was healthy. But not that long ago, we had a downward revision of 911,000 jobs that were basically never materialized in the U.S. economy. So there's pessimism in the government about the overall job market. Not the entire job market, but overall, the government would like to see an upward trend of job creation for everyone, not just parts of the economy, okay? So the job situation is a little bit inconsistent. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. Entry-level and new college grads, a little bit slow in job creation for that, for those types of folks. When I graduated college, we were in a recession, and it took, you have to put in the effort. Yeah, it's a numbers game. You have to make the effort, keep looking. You find a position. In my case, I ended up with like 4 offers during the recession, and none of them were exactly what I wanted. But I took one of them, the closest I could get to what I wanted. You have to be open-minded about it when you're a new college grad. There are openings for experienced staff members. If you're an experienced person in the right sort of industry, not necessarily in trades or housing, but if you have experience, there are jobs out there. So the crux, it's sort of a mixed picture. Entry-level folks, new college grads, kind of slow. If you have experience in the right industries, there are jobs out there. There's job growth in part of the economy, okay? Healthcare, business and professional services, hiring, manufacturing. We all know why manufacturing is hiring. It's because onshoring of manufacturing jobs is a big part of the current government's efforts. Technology, we all know that artificial intelligence is booming. We've heard about the $1 million offers that experienced artificial intelligence folks have been getting in Silicon Valley. So the tech part of the economy is doing well. There's an expectation these parts of the economy will continue to grow and be healthy for the rest of this year, 2025. Okay, so how will the current reality, this kind of mixed picture about jobs, help the Fed with rates? Because parts of the economy need a high speed of rate cuts, all right? And parts of the economy, they're already doing okay. So what will this reality, how will that help the Fed cutting interest rates? Okay, so right now, especially because of the downward revision, 911,000 jobs never created, there is now noticeable pressure on the Fed for interest rate cuts to lower rates, okay? Because lower rates stimulate the economy. Lower interest rates stimulate the economy by making borrowing cheaper, okay? What things do we buy that we have to borrow for? Housing, auto loans, we use credit cards tied to interest rates. Anything involving debt that we take on to make purchases is helped by lower interest rates. So the faster the Fed reduces rates, the better in parts of the economy. Now, I don't know if you remember the quiet quitting that was going on not that long ago. There were so many jobs that you could quit your current job and you knew you would be able to step into a new job very easily. Quiet quitting was a trend not that long ago. We're not there yet, okay? So that was a time when interest rates were quite low. They had been low since 2008, 2009. the Fed started raising interest rates to slow the economy down about 3 years ago, October of 2022. So we're almost at October of 2025. Okay, so about 3 years ago. So I could not fit everything on the board. So will the risk of further inflation, is that now going to affect the Fed's decision on interest rate lowering? Most likely not. The downward revision of jobs, number one, and the expectation that any inflation caused by tariffs will be a one-time event. It will not last. So the risk that inflation will make the Fed pause lowering rates, the risk is low, quite low. What about the timing of future interest rate cuts? How quickly will we get to future interest rate cuts? Because parts of the economy definitely need interest rate cuts, right? So the Fed can cut rates anytime, right? They can step in and say, well, we have a problem in the economy. We're lowering rates by 50 basis points. They've done that in the recent past. But those are unscheduled. Okay, so the Fed can step in anytime and lower rates. There are 2 scheduled Fed meetings this year. And the expectation is they're going to lower rates at both meetings. The first one is October 28th, a little over a month away. The next one will be December 9th. Both of those are expected to be interest rate lowering events. Okay, so the Fed already lowered rates in the last several days, a week or so ago, down to 4%. We're down Fed funds rate at 4% right now. After the upcoming 2 interest rate cut meetings, October 28th, December 9th, by the end of this year, the expectation is we'll drop from 4% Fed funds rate to 3.5% or more, or even lower. I mean, if the job market surprises the Fed, more than this surprised the Fed could say, we're going to lower interest rates by 50 basis points. We're really going to kick things into gear and get the economy running. But there is this expectation that by the end of this year, we will have dropped from 4.25% down to 3.5% Fed funds rate for interest rates. And again, once we have lower interest rates, it becomes easier and easier for companies to take on projects, to borrow money if they need to take on projects, and then hire people. That will ease the burden on entry-level new college grads, and it will help the housing market. So what should you do in the present economy? As the Fed is lowering rates, right, you want to first survive and then thrive. The survival means if you have a job, this is not quiet quitting days. This is, if you have a job, hold on to it days, okay? You want to make sure that before you switch to a new position, you don't quit your current position until you have searched and found a new position. That's the survival part. The thriving part, as the Fed lowers rates, more parts of the economy will kick into gear and hiring will get better. Well, it feels kind of slow right now for parts of the economy, entry-level, new college grads, and so on, housing. It feels slow for them. That's going to change. Things always go back to better situations. It wasn't that long ago where interest rates were low and there were so many jobs available. Quiet quitting became a reality. People said, I'm not going to worry about this job. I can find another job very easily. And it was true. Interest rates were low. We're headed back to times maybe not exactly like that, but it will be a better time to find a job. But for now, hold on to your current job. If you're searching for a new position, find the new position first before you leave your old job. So that's kind of the advice going forward. The speed of interest rate cuts, we are on a path of lowering rates. We're going to have 2 more rate cuts this year, at least. And if the Fed gets more surprises about employment, they may cut rates more than people currently expect, which is 2 more cuts of a quarter percent, 25 basis points. So if you have any questions about this, please post questions in the comments. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have. I really want to thank everyone for watching. Have a great day.